The cold wind swept through the streets that evening as the city lights flickered to life. Cars rushed past, people hurried home, and in the middle of it all, a man named Noah Bennett stood outside a small grocery store, loading bags into the back of his rusted pickup truck. His jacket was worn, his hands calloused, but his eyes carried a quiet strength, the kind that comes from surviving more storms than anyone should. He was a single dad, doing everything he could to give his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, a life better than his own. Inside the truck, Emma hummed softly, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny. "Daddy, can we stop for cocoa on the way home?" Noah smiled tiredly. "If the shop's still open, sweetheart, you've been good all week." Just as he started the engine, he saw movement near the alley beside the store. A woman struggling with a flat tire in the freezing cold. Her coat was thin, her hands shaking as she tried to loosen the bolts. Something about her looked fragile but determined. Without thinking, Noah pulled over. "Need a hand?" he called, stepping into the light. She looked up, startled. "Oh no, it's okay. I'll manage." Her voice trembled, though she clearly had no idea what she was doing. Noah chuckled softly. "Yeah, you're about to strip the bolt clean off. Mind if I help?" Reluctantly, she nodded. "If it's not too much trouble." In minutes, Noah had the spare tire on. His hands moved with practiced ease, and soon the car was ready to go. "There," he said, dusting his palms. "You're good to drive." The woman smiled shyly. "Thank you, really. I'm just having a rough night." Noah nodded. "We all do sometimes." When he started to walk back to his truck, she stopped him. "Wait, I don't even know your name." "Noah," he said, glancing back with a small grin. "And you are?" "Grace," she replied softly. Grace Miller. That name at the time meant nothing to him. But in a few weeks, it would change his life completely. The next day, Grace appeared again, this time at the small diner where Noah worked part-time as a cook. Her clothes were still simple, her hair tied back. She ordered the cheapest thing on the menu and sat quietly, sketching something in a notebook. Noah noticed her, recognized her from the night before, and walked over with a friendly smile. "Rough night turn into a rough week?" he asked lightly. She looked up, surprised but smiling. "You could say that." He brought her a cup of coffee, on the house, and sat across from her during his break. She told him she'd recently lost her job, was struggling to get back on her feet, and didn't have much family around. Something in her voice reminded him of his own battles, the nights he'd stayed up wondering how to pay rent or buy Emma's school shoes. Over the next few days, Grace kept coming back, sometimes for food, sometimes just to talk. She met Emma once when Noah brought her in after school, and they clicked instantly. The three of them began to feel like something resembling a family. Noah didn't have much, but he had heart, and he showed it in 100 small ways. Fixing Grace's car again when it broke down, helping her fill out job applications, inviting her to Emma's school recital. Grace watched him quietly, studying every gesture, every choice he made without expecting anything in return. Because Grace wasn't who she said she was. In truth, Grace Miller was Grace Whitmore, the CEO of Whitmore Enterprises, one of the largest companies in the city. She'd built her empire on innovation. But as the company grew, she began to lose faith in people. Employees smiled to her face, but whispered behind her back. Charity proposals came with hidden agendas. Her heart had grown tired of the insincerity that surrounded her wealth, though she decided to disappear for a while, to see what kindness looked like when there was nothing to gain, to find someone real. And Noah was as real as they came. Weeks turned into months, and though Grace tried to keep her guard up, she couldn't ignore how genuine he was. He never once asked what she could offer. When she mentioned she was looking for work, he offered to connect her with someone at the local grocery store, not knowing she could buy the entire chain with one phone call. One snowy night, Emma fell ill. Noah couldn't afford the expensive medication, and the small-town pharmacy had closed early. Grace saw the panic in his eyes and quietly paid for the medicine without saying a word. "It's nothing," she said when he tried to thank her. "You've done enough for me." But inside, she felt something she hadn't felt in years, love. Then one day Noah walked into the diner to find Grace gone. Her number didn't work. Her small apartment was empty. It was as if she'd vanished. He tried to move on, but her absence left a hollow ache that words couldn't fill. Months passed before he saw her again, but not as the struggling woman he once knew. He saw her on television, giving a press conference in a tailored suit. Her name emblazoned behind her, Grace Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Enterprises. Noah froze. The same woman he'd shared meals with, laughed with, dreamed with, was one of the richest people in the country. His hands trembled as he turned off the TV. He thought it was over, that whatever they'd shared had been a lie. But the very next morning, a sleek black car pulled up outside the diner. Grace stepped out, her eyes searching for him. "Noah," she said softly when she found him wiping tables. He stared at her, hurt flickering across his face. "So, it was all a game? Some kind of test?" She shook her head quickly, tears glistening. "No, I swear it wasn't like that. I wanted to see if there were still good people in this world, people who helped without wanting something in return. I found one. I found you." Noah looked away, his chest tight. "You should have told me." "I know," she whispered. "But if I had, would you have treated me the same?" He didn't answer. The silence said enough. Grace took a deep breath and handed him an envelope. "This isn't a bribe," she said gently. "It's an offer. I'm opening a new foundation for single parents, for people like you who give more than they have. I want you to help lead it. You understand people, Noah. You see hearts. I need that." He looked at the paper inside. A job. Offer with a salary that could change his and Emma's lives forever. But what truly broke him wasn't the money. It was the sincerity in her voice. Over time, he accepted, not for wealth, but for purpose. He began working beside Grace, helping families, giving struggling parents the chances he'd once prayed for. Slowly, the distance between them faded. They rebuilt trust and love, real, honest love, found its way back in. A year later, they stood together at a gala for the foundation's anniversary. Cameras flashed as Grace took the stage, but her gaze stayed on Noah and Emma in the front row. "When I lost faith in people," she began, "I met someone who reminded me that goodness doesn't wear a suit or drive a fancy car. It works late nights. It wipes away tears. It sacrifices quietly. This foundation exists because one man, a single dad, taught me that hearts can't be measured by wealth." Noah's eyes glistened as Emma clapped proudly beside him. When the applause died down, Grace walked off the stage, took his hand and whispered, "Thank you for seeing me when no one else did." He smiled softly. "Guess we both needed saving, huh?" She laughed through her tears. Looks like it." As the music swelled and the camera faded out, the voiceover would say, "Sometimes the richest people are those who give from empty pockets, and the loneliest hearts are healed by those who have nothing but kindness to offer."